Hello, everyone. This is Otito and
Stanley.
from the Grey Couch. And look at me looking like somebody who is what? I don't even know. I'm out of the picture here because Stanley went to Texas for an event. She 11.0. We're going to talk about that, in another episode. But if you're not following her, you should, right? At Talk by Fajingbesi. So Stan is in Houston for that, and we have our wonderful dear friends who you're going to meet in a minute. And we're like, since he's there, we might as well just do this live, right? So he's
live session. So we're coming to you live from the. Is this gray couch or white couch?
White couch. I love it. Yeah, and white. Yeah. So these are our wonderfully amazing. I cannot speak enough about this couple, the Idowus, but we'll let them introduce themselves, right? So go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here. My name is Tukelomo Idowu. I am a learning and development professional. I am a mother of one. Well, two, I have born a son. And yeah, I'm super excited to be here.
And I am Femi Idowu. I'm an accountant by profession, and I'm also father to I'm blessed to be here today.
So how to give backstory? How long have you guys been married, but how long have you guys known each other?
I mean, this is gonna be a whole movie. I have known this man here since I was 12. I met him when I was 12 years old. He asked me out. Let's be clear. They asked me out when I was 12, and I believe he was 15 at the time. So we've known each other since I was 12. And we only got married in November 2014. So we're going to be 8 years next month.
So we've been about 8 years, and we've known each other for pretty much our lifetime.
Don't give up my age. Don't give up my age.
I know, right? Amazing. So you can see them. Just get ready for a treat because these people are just too lovely. Hopefully we won't be doing like insider, gist stories, but
yes,
it's for the love of the game, right? Or in this case, the marriage. So Stan, you want to go first with the questions?
Our first question for the evening, going for 10 points on the Jeopardy scale. So tell us, what are your views on communication? I mean, there are many different styles of communication. Specifically, what we want to know is, who is the introvert? Who is the extrovert? And how does that play into solving disagreements?
Let me say,
You can already tell. So I am definitely extroverted, and he's the introvert, or he's introverted. And how does it play into conflict resolution? I mean, so I guess for me, I always want to like talk things through and like have a conversation about, when things happen. But I think one of the things I've learned, recognizing that my husband is more introverted, is to wait. So in the early years of our marriage, I would typically want to address things in the moment and like talk about it in the moment. And I have noticed that when I do that, it further escalates the situation. But over the years, I've and even as we kind of problem solve and we start talking through things, it will tell me things like, well, you wanted to talk about it in the moment and I wasn't ready. Or then I then get upset because he doesn't want to have that conversation in the moment. And then he begins to ignore me. And then it becomes a bigger problem than the issue that we were trying to address. So I would say that, over the years, I've definitely learned to kind of compromise and balance and kind of meet him where he's at. So when, things come up, he does something that I don't like, I've learned to leave it alone and just be quiet and not say anything until he's ready. And that has worked because in those moments, he's actually been the one to reach out, and then he will come over to my side of the bed and be like, do you want to talk? I love those moments. I live for those moments. I'm like, okay, let's and I think that was worked for us.
Yeah. I love it. Love it, because I think it's going to take us to the next question where we're talking about BIDS, right? A BID is your, building intimacy deposits, and what you just described is a classic BID of coming over to your side to say, do you want to talk, right? So I think the question is, what are your preferences? Who is the person who goes, not necessarily out of their way, but what are those little things that he or you do to resolve conflict without coming out to say, I'm trying to resolve this conflict, right? What is something that either of you do?
I think sometimes when we have those conflicts, right? I think and as much as I'm an extrovert, right? Introvert, excuse me. Yeah, I try to I try to ensure that we're always in a good place, right? However, there are times when I'm trying to put my foot down, but in my head I'm thinking, okay, I want to control this narrative in the sense that, well, you did something that I'm upset about. You should be taking accountability for it, but you aren't. And well, I'm going to make you pay for it, meaning I'm going to prolong the conflict, right? So, but I think learning our style, right, and my style as well. I think I've learned to just, in a way, I don't want to say the bigger person, but just be mature enough, right, to to just ensure that we resolve conflict in a timely manner. However, I would say that there are times when, just like I said earlier, I do prolong those conflicts. I'm like, okay, well, I want to get my way this time, but then it's just that it just never works out. That was the whole point of you trying to find this prolonged conflict when it ends up just being a whole mess, and then you eventually, I would have to go and say, okay, why are you upset? I'm sorry. They say happy wife, happy life. So, but then that's a perfect example.
But Kike, what is something you do to, get to Femi's side of the bed, as it were?
I mean, I go straight to the side of the bed. I'm a straight shooter. So yeah, I do that. But I think other times, I don't know, I do things around the house. So for example, he's responsible for washing the bottles, baby bottles. And so, sometimes, and I feel like it's one of those things that that has been assigned to him. And so if I'm doing the baby bottles, then it's like next level love, because I'm not gonna be doing the bottles, so definitely definitely washing the baby bottles sometimes, or even just like checking up on him, like how are you doing? Because other times, like, I mean, I feel like, I don't know, it depends on the day, depends on the level of the conflict. Sometimes we could just be in the house, nobody's talking to each other, is in a study, I'm in my side of the house and whatnot. But once I say, how are you doing? That is code for, okay, maybe she's not as mad or she's not as upset. So kind of leaning in and being the first to talk to the person, even though there is an unresolved matter on the ground.
I love it. How are you doing, Stan? Are you getting that code? And I say, how are you doing?
Let me bring my notepad so I can take more notes.
How are you doing? Okay.
Thanks for that. I have to say that your last response, the vulnerability there and the openness, Femi on your side, just seeing how there are sometimes when you want to just prolong this matter. And that's just being honest, and every guy has been there, like, I shall not agree. Let me just
what is this? What is this?
And that takes a lot of awareness. But you guys just had, well, don't think just have. There's a baby boy, and I have to say another thing though, of all you guys will be the first people that we have on the couch that are broaching this next subject that everybody's interested in, but nobody seems to want to approach. So kudos to you guys and that's the area of coupling or sex. And there's a 1-year-old baby in the house. First and foremost, how has that affected your sex life in the last 1 year?
You want to go first?
No, go ahead, take it.
So the question was, how has having Obadaraire, is his name,
Yep.
impacted our sex life? I mean, how honest are we getting?
Hey, this is the great
This is the great couch.
No limits, no limits. Okay,
Safe zone.
let's get into it. I would say it has impact. I mean, so the first few months, so Oba is what, 20 months, 22 months?
Yeah.
The first year was like the sex life was dead. It was dead. It was comatose. We were struggling to find sleep. Oh my
Yeah.
God. It was rough. It was so rough, but I think eventually when we moved, relocated to Texas, Texas has a little bit more space, we started getting into it a little bit. So when we first moved here, we were living with my brother. It wasn't like the most, I don't know, comfortable situation.
Comfortable, convenient.
But eventually we moved here to our space. We got creative a little bit. And I would say things have picked back up. Like that ministry has moved on my inside. So
I love it.
And I think to add to that, I think since we've gotten married, I think we've always had that connection in terms of physical. And I think having Obara was a bit of a challenge, like because it was an experience that we haven't been through before, and then it happened, and then we're like, okay, lack of sleep, stress, like
in the pandemic,
exactly. So coupled with all of those things, it was just kind of hard, right? But then I think afterwards, just like you mentioned, right? Afterwards, everything settled down, and like you said, ministry's been moving forward.
I love it. The moving forward.
The ministry. I like this. Are you taking notes? The ministry has to move forward.
It's a ministry. It has to move forward. I love it.
Listen,
Yeah,
ministry of active worship.
Amen.
No. The ministry of
Yeah, I love it. Thank you for your vulnerability, because I know having a baby, right, without support systems, family, it can be brutal, right? In that sense. So thank you.
It can be brutal anywhere, but I feel most here in diaspora can, at least back home, you have some semblance of,
I think one of the things that made it even extremely difficult for us was the pandemic. Not being able to connect with you people, and family. So that was a bit hard. But I think also moving here made a huge difference, because I don't know, there's just something about Texas that's like very chill and laid back.
Yeah.
So that helped as well. And also having family around. So my brother, about a few minutes away.
Yeah, thank you. So now I think this kind of takes us to the next question, right? Like if you're listening, you've heard a bit of the things that they're talking about that have helped, because sometimes we think this is something we can do all by ourselves, but you see, you have to have support structures. There's family, there's environment, right? The environment can be a support structure. You need to set up your environment in a way that will work for you, right? And so my question to you is, what would you tell like couples, younger couples, or even older ones, because we're all here to learn from one another, to keep the fire alive, right? The fire of active worship, the burning passion. How would you do that? Especially because for the younger folks, for instance, right, as Christians, we're told it's better to marry than to burn with passion. And so the question is, how do you balance that when you now get married, right? And now you're looking for the passion. So tell us how you keep the fires going.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would say in times when we've had challenges, has been when we've had conflicts, right? I feel like when we've had issues, maybe we got into a fight, then the argument, right? And then it prolongs for a little bit, and then that affects everything else, right?
Yeah.
That intimacy, and then I think, and I, I think recently we had one argument where I kind of made a statement. I said, "Well, you haven't." I feel like, what did I say? I feel like
Say it. I don't know.
I feel like you don't appreciate everything that I do, or things like that. And then I sort of told her like, hey, listen, the reason why I said that is because in some ways that also affects our intimacy, because I feel like we have this arguments and then I'm feeling this way, right? You know, it affects me looking at you in a certain way or not seeing you in a certain way. And so I think when you have those conflicts and if you can resolve them, right? If you can right? I think a lot of that helps, you know, because sometimes it's not just the physical part, right? You're like, I know I'm attracted to you. I see you. Even if you're gaining weight or whatever, I love you. I'm still attracted to you, right? But sometimes the other side of that
Attitude.
is, you know, exactly the conflict, the attitude, things of that nature, right? So, you know, I think after we had that argument, and this is one thing I'm guilty of, is being an introvert and putting things inside them. Like, now I'm realizing, okay, if I express myself, now she understands where I'm coming from. Oh, I didn't know you felt this way before, because that was actually what she said. Like, I didn't know you felt this way. Okay, now I can, when you wash those bottles, I can say, thank you, Femi, you washed the bottles, because I never said that before. But like, well, she didn't appreciate me washing the bottle, but when I say it, so okay, oh, Femi, thank you for washing the bottle, or Femi, thank you for doing the laundry, I appreciate that. I think, you know, I think communicating, expressing yourself, being intentional, and then also, you know, making time, right? Making time and say, okay, well, Saturday, you know, if it's a second day, I got, you know, tonight, you know,
it's on.
You know, so I think being intentional.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, listen, I don't know how to follow that. So this is what I want to say, and I just want to kind of keep it real. The truth of the matter is that I am realizing that in marriage, there will be seasons, granted, you know, there will be seasons where that ministry will not, active worship will not happen, you know, in the way that, like, it's not going to be 247 excitement, this, that, and the third. And maybe that's okay. I don't know, you know, but just wanted to put that out there. Even when you try to do the things that he's spoken about, it may not just be there because y'all are in a different season. So there's that piece. But then other times, you know, I don't think about it much. I just prepare myself as a living sacrifice.
Lord Jesus.
You know, because yeah, I don't know that I think about it as much. Like, you know, we're pretty active in this ministry. So I just,
Are you saying you don't think about it when you come to my side of the bed?
no. So that's it. Well, I don't know how to say this. I don't know, like when I want it, I get it. You know, like even when
I love it.
like,
Readiness.
you know, like it's not like I don't necessarily like think about it. Like it's not a thing that I think about. Like when there's need. I'll tell you this though, we've never had a situation where either one of us said no in the entire time that we've been married, which is like weird. Like we've never said no. It's not a thing. So maybe that's why it's kind of difficult for me to answer that question, because on a regular, I don't necessarily need to do anything. I just need to prepare myself, you know, and get the move on. Like it's not, I don't know, like it happens for us so organically and naturally that it just happens.
Okay.
Can I tell them that they have something special?
Yes.
don't want you guys to think that this is normal. This is something special, you know.
Yeah.
Oti and I, we came up with a little formula where if somebody makes, I don't want to call it a bid. If someone says, let's go, you have the person that is asking, the person that's been asked of, you have an option to delay or accept. It's like it's not transactional, but like if you're going to delay, you have to give a when. But the person that offers now can give a what. I'm getting deep here. Should I? I don't want to be like,
Go ahead.
Oti, let's go to it. So if Oti agrees, then I can get, okay, we're doing a what, and when we said, this is not gonna, okay, you give me a when, but then I get to pick what's gonna happen. It's interesting. So, you know, so we're saying one person has a what, another person has a when. You know, so we divide, you know.
Yeah. I love it. And that's because, you know, I feel like sometimes people think sex is just about the copulation, right? You kind of get into the bed and all that kind of thing. No, me and this brother, we have like moves. And when I mean moves is that, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like play acting, like, you know, you can do those kinds of things and you say, hey, this is what I would like to do today, right? That kind of thing. But what he's saying, the what and the where, is because you don't necessarily want to say no, right? You know, you may not be in the mood, but you're not necessarily saying no. So you're just saying not right now. You see what I'm saying? But it's not like you're saying no, because there's a huge sense of rejection that comes, I think, for the men. And Kike, I agree with you. I don't think sex is something that women generally think about all the time. But in terms of readiness, it's like, okay, you know, let's do this. The other thing that we've done over the years, I don't know, you know, we put that in our book too, is like scheduling things. We didn't used to do that. We used to say, oh, we're spontaneous, right? But I think when you're in the thick of trying to raise the children, that spontaneity will crawl out of the window and you won't even know it. You see what I'm saying? And so it was a question of maybe not. Maybe we need to have like fixed times and days, and then if anything happens in between, bonus, right? So at least you just know, I have a date on the calendar, I'll see you people later.
If we miss the date, bonus, the double whammy. So either you win or you win. That's what you can.
That win or win, yep, yeah. So